goed. Nou, dan komen we bij de volgende dichter. Ja, nou, al dat Nederlands moet ik weer omschakelen. The next poet will be Francisco Manuel Freyre Echevarria, and we all know him as Freyre, in Rotterdam at least. Freyre is of Cuban origin. Also, that's another country that has some experience with oppression and censorship. He's living in the Netherlands. He's an engineer in technical geology and he's an IT specialist. He works for the city of Rotterdam, knows everything about the future heating network of our city, but his poetic production has been constant and he is published in many bundles. He's also a great musician, organizer of bolero festivals, and behind the famous Rotterdam Underground Walk. I don't know anything that Freyre is not capable of doing. He can do anything, but he's going to read his poetry tonight. I want to invite you to come. Freyre, Rdam, where are you? Do you want to say anything about your presence here tonight? Because your country also has some ties to the USA, or
Yes. That's the first thing that I want to say is thank you, Somisa, to invite me here. I am very glad, but at the same time I'm very sad. Sad because of Afghanistan and because the oppression of all those beautiful women that are living there and the women that will come in this country. I am very glad to be with you and to share with you this night, but I am also very sad because this is going on and going on and going on, and we have to make a critical mass to try to stop this, and that's why I'm here. I am living here in Netherlands since 27 years, and I'm a Cuban, and I know what that means. I know what has been going on in other countries, because Cuba in the last 33 years has been blockaded by the United States. And some people complain what happened in Cuba, and it's not really part of what is going on in Cuba, is because the United States are clashing down Cuba to the bone. Everything is at this very moment very difficult in this country. I am here because I started here in 1992. I returned to Cuba, and 3 years later I meet at that time a woman, and she is my wife, and I come because of love. But I still helping Cuba and helping all causes in the world that are for rights, and that's why I'm here. So, yes, what you say, so many people say that I can do a lot of things, and well, I recognize that. Because I got this from my mother. My mother is my inspiration. She is not anymore alive, but I remember her every time, every day in my life, because who I am, I owe it to her, because she teach me everything that I do, how I iron my clothes, how I cook, how I teach my children, everything belonged to my mother and also, of course, to my father. These two people inspired me, and they made me who I am. Of course, also Cuba and the system that they are still there in Cuba. That's why I'm very glad, and that's why I'm very sad at the same time. It's difficult to share these two feelings. Today I'm going to tell to you about communication, and why, because I wrote a poem that is like, call it like this, it's an ode to the communication. And I think that we have to realize that what we are doing here is communicating feelings, and it's very important, because this is the only way that we can share what happened in the world, and that we can help each other. And that is what we are doing here together, helping and understanding Afghanistan and Somalia. This poem I wrote in Dutch, because also write poem in Dutch. That is something crazy. But I'm living here now 27 years, so I have to do it. But I am part of the community of Rotterdam. I am a city ambassador of Rotterdam, and I do a lot of things for Rotterdam. Even though I'm not living here, but I am working here since 2000. I know more than Rotterdam than The Hague, where I live in. The poem that I want to read to you is in English. I translate it. I will read it later on in Dutch. The poem is called Ode to the Communication, and said, communication, a live creature, you hunt anger, sadness, the darkness of fear between people. Hunger and pain and sorrows will at your presence, and because of you, itself fade off. Even the still life take the words and communicate his own history. The time when the sun shined, the time when the moon gleamed, the time when the rain fell, and the snow itself made a way. All communication, you, beautiful life creature, you are the beginning and the end of all those headache. I am going to read in Dutch because it has more, how can I say, rims. And it says in Dutch, communicatie, jij, levende schepen, verjaag woede, verdriet, somberheid en angst tussen de mensen. Honger en pijn en al dat lijden zullen in jouw bijzijn door je woorden jezelf verdwijnen. Zelf, het stille leven, neemt het woord en communiceert zijn geschiedenis. Van toen de zon er was, van toen de maan verscheen, van toen de regen viel en de sneeuw zichzelf ontdooide. O communicatie, jij prachtig levende schepsel, je bent het begin en het einde van al het lijden. And the other point that I want to read you is called common sense. Common sense. Let me tell you how I feel without my personal ballast, without the mark of the fox and the burden of so many years. Let me tell you what I think, and then become the dialogue. Listen for a moment to the ancient and human wailing in search of peace, love, and balance, struggling to escape from wars, catastrophes, from the Holocaust, from the oppression, from so many suffering. You and your one did it. Why not me? Why not the mine? Why not the others? We travel in the same ship, beautiful earth, body star that slides through the labyrinths of the universe, in one of the many galaxies, infinite dimension of the eternal. Common sense, purpose of life, not to wars, not to misery and hunger, not to discrimination, not to exploitation of the individual, not to plunder of the nation. Yes to the right to the education, on daily bread, on water, on development, and knowledge exchange, on balance. Listen to me for a moment, please, because what I ask you is not much, just only common sense, suffered and shared, so that we can move forward together, so that no one is forgotten. It is just common